Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's episode, I have an interesting video or series we're about to start. That's the road to funds. And most of us have there's actually quite a lot of information on the internet about how to study abroad using scholarships. But the truth be told, not everybody gets the opportunity to study abroad with scholarships. So I have with me three interesting panels who are going to share with us their journey of studying in France with no scholarship. So before we start, let's give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. We are going to go Sheila, Rhoda, and Rebecca. So now let's start.
All right. So my name is Sheila Bombari. I'm a student and a fashion designer on the side. I'm studying French, specifically writing, expression, and oral skills at Université de Toulouse, Jean Jaurès, and I'm from Ghana. All right.
Okay, could you also do like the year you came to France in your introduction, if that's okay?
Oh, the very first time I came to France was in 2017. I left and came back in 2019.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Rhoda?
Okay, hi, I'm Rhoda Sasari. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm currently doing a PhD on earth buildings. I came to France in 2018 for my master's, after which I got a PhD. Yeah.
And you didn't say your school?
Okay, so my school is Université Gustave Eiffel. It used to be called IFSTAR, but they've changed the name to Université Gustave Eiffel.
And for your master's, this school?
And for my master's, I did it in Université de Grenoble, Alps. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Ekuruke. I am currently doing an internship, and I came to France in September 2018. I studied at Eco Central do North, and I'm a Nigerian.
Okay, awesome. So, could you give us a fair idea of how much your tuition fees cost? Anyone can start.
All right. So my tuition with other courses, everything inclusive is around 500 euros. Yeah.
For both
But I mean,
your
the very
year
first
abroad.
time up to 500 the first time I came, but they increased a few things. So they increased the price of a few things. So I mean, the cost. Sorry.
And if I get you correctly, like the program you came to do for your year abroad is the same thing you're continuing now, or it's another one?
Exactly, it's the same thing. Yeah. But then I've moved to a higher level.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so for me, for my master, the tuition and other costs was around 400 euros. And for my PhD, tuition and the civic inclusive is around 500 euros. Yeah.
For me, my tuition was 9,000 euros for 2 years for my master's, and though it was 12,000, but my school gave a discount of 3,000, and I eventually paid 9,000 for 2 years.
And Rebecca, does it give discount to everybody?
Okay, for the discount, not everybody gets it because I asked some of my colleagues back then, and they said some people said they paid the whole 12,000, but I was among people who did not pay 12,000. I paid 9,000, and it was paid in 3 installments. It wasn't paid all at once. It was paid in 3 installments. The first installment, before they give you your admission letter, you had to pay the first installment of 3,000. Then the second installment was when you resume in September, and the third installment was before you finish your first year of masters. So it was paid in 3 installments of 9,000 euros. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Sheila 500, Rhoda 500, Rebecca 9,000. How did you guys pay your tuition? How did you get the money? Parents, friends, boyfriend, lovers, banks, loans. Like, where did you get the money to pay your fees?
So for me, my parents were my main sponsors. They paid my tuition basically. Yeah, they paid the whole 9,000.
They also paid in installments, or they just gave it to you?
No, they paid it in installments. Of course, who will not opt for the option of installments? Of course, they paid it in 3 installments of 3,000 euros 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same for me. I think I paid 3 times as well. You have the option of paying at once or 3 times. So it was the same thing. Yeah, it is. And even till now, it still is the same.
Even for the 500?
Yeah.
You pay, I think, like 150, and then the other one 200 or so, something like that.
I never knew that. Or that you were allowed to pay in installments?
Yeah, we were allowed, but I didn't use that one, but people used it. Yeah.
I didn't know you could actually pay in installment. Okay, so for our viewers to actually understand the weight of the money, like maybe Rebecca, if you could convert the 9,000 euros into naira, maybe you guys will also convert yours into cedi, so that we get a fair idea of like the resources that you actually need to actually study abroad.
Mm-hmm. So as at the time of my payments, though, because the exchange rate right now has kind of gone up, but as at the time I paid this money, it was about 1.3 million. 3,000 euros was equal to 1.3 million naira. So right now it's way more than 1.3 million, but as at then it was about 1.3 million. So basically I paid 1.3 million 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Million naira to be precise. Naira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Rhoda and Sheila, in Ghana cities, like how much was it relatively?
As at that time, 2018, I think it was around 2,700. Yeah.
Yeah.
Per year. Yeah. 2,700 Ghana cities per year.
Okay. So I know that when you have to get a visa, like you need to show some amount of money to be able to get the visa. Like, how are you people able to get that amount of money? How much was that amount of money to get your visa to France?
Well, for me, I had to provide evidence of about 7,000 euros in my account to be able to get the visa, and I got it from my parents.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. 7,000 euros in an account in your name. So yeah, I was able to get that money from my parents as well.
So for me, I didn't need to pay I didn't need to have any particular amount of money in my bank account. I just needed a proof of sponsor, and my sponsor needed to have a certain amount in his bank account, obviously. So I didn't really need to have any particular amount in my name. Just my sponsor's name was good enough with his bank details or her bank details. So basically, my sponsors were my parents.
okay, awesome. So like this question, you people are lucky to have parents who are able to give you that amount of money. Like, you know how your other friends were able to show that amount of money who maybe their parents couldn't give them that amount of money. Do you have any idea how other people are able to raise their funds for the visa interview?
Well, I know. Okay, yeah, go.
Okay, thank you for me, and because I was able to talk to some of my colleagues, some of my Indian colleagues. For some of them, their parents helped them with the first installment of the school fees, but for the second and third, they had to pay it themselves. Or some people, their parents helped them with maybe the first installments. Most of them, their parents helped them. Then the second installment, they came to France to find a job and then pay. So some of them did not pay their second installment like in the month of September. They dragged it until towards the end of the first year because they needed to work. to pay the rest of the fees themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and I also know that I know some people use this method. I mean, they go for money from other places and then put it in their accounts, and then after the visa, I mean, when they come, they can give the person whoever's money they went for back to the person. So I know, I mean, that's a method that other people use too.
okay. And also, I know you could also go for loans. Some people actually go to the banks for
Oh,
loans to be.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
So, part of the time interview now, you're in France. Like, how are you able to survive? Your parents were still sending you money, or you had to hustle your way through?
Okay, so I mean, when you get here, like the money sees coming, yeah. So you have to hustle your way through, and I had to find job. But for me, my master was 1 year. For the first 6 months, it's just class and exams. You go for lectures and you write. Then the next 6 months is internship. For the first 6 months, I didn't search for any job because I wanted to focus on my books. So it was when I started internship that I started searching for jobs. And I was lucky because the person I came with, she had been here in 2016 for a year abroad. So she knew the system. So she was giving me all the hints like where to get job and stuff. So I searched online for Le Petit Bilang and I got babysitting and English teaching jobs there. So I was doing it Thursday and Saturday. Yeah. And I
You
think
were still doing, when were you doing it? In your first year or when you were done?
no, in my first year when I started my internship
Okay.
because I didn't have any exams to write as at that time. I was done with my exams, so I could.
Well, for me, when I got here to, I mean, for the first few months, I was still receiving money from Ghana. But then I was lucky because when I got here, I think after about 3 weeks, I got a job. It was that
Wow.
quick. So, yeah. I was doing babysitting and then teaching English to French kids. And then, yeah, fortunately for me, I mean, they needed me to speak English, not French. So it was, I mean, it was like, oh, this is a good thing. Understand? So I mean, that was how it was like. I was doing it I think 4 times a week. That's like 8 hours a week. Because on Wednesdays they could take care of their children themselves. So I was just doing it on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
What was the pay like?
He said
What was the pay like?
the pay was around roughly it was around 300 euros. Yeah, it was around 300 euros. Yeah.
And you, Rebecca?
Okay, so for me, when I came here initially, my parents kept sponsoring me. They sponsored me for about a year until I eventually got a job, a student job, because I tried severally to get a student job when I came here, but unfortunately, I guess not having the right information and then my inability to speak French did not allow me get a job on time. But eventually, after I made a couple of friends and I became more familiar with the system, I realized that, okay, maybe I've not been doing it the right way. And then I was eventually able to get a job after a year. And also, I used the first year to kind of like improve my French. It was because I really wanted to get a student job. I had this very high motivation to learn French, and eventually I got a student job after a year. And that was when my parents stopped supporting me with finances. But for the 1 year I came here, my parents were my they were the people giving me money for my daily expenses, basically.
Okay, awesome. So now let's go deep into the jobs. Like, where did you find them? How did you find them? Did you have to go for interviews? What were the ups? What were the downs? Like, let's just go deep into the job. So who will start with that?
Okay, so with me for the job, I applied online from Le Petit Bilan website, Then they replied that they set a date for an interview if I could make it. So I went there. Actually, it was an interview from the email they sent, but when I got there, it was like they are just making you the offer. Like the job is there. If you want it, you can just start. Yeah. So I was doing 12 hours. That was what the contract said. But with the numerous holidays in France, like, and the kids, after 2 weeks, you have to stop working and you wait for the next 2 weeks. So the money wasn't what it was supposed to be because of the holidays. Like, it was reduced because if I did all the hours I was supposed to do, I was supposed to get around 400, but let's say 350 to 400 euros a month. But with the numerous holidays, you end up getting around 150 to 200 a month. Yeah.
So was it just the teaching of English jobs you did throughout your entire stay?
No. So with that one, I started with my internship. And in France, when you do internship for more than 3 months, you're supposed to be paid. So I was getting paid and doing this. So it wasn't affecting me because I was getting money for my internship and getting money here too. But when I finished my internship and now I had to do only this one, like I realized this job is not helping me now. So a friend of mine used to work in a restaurant, Vapiam. So I asked him and he recommended me to his manager. And this lady asked me to send my TTDC, like my documents to her. So I sent it and I went there and she said, I think it was around December, she said they are going on break. So when they come back, so I was there in January and she sent me an email that, am I still looking for a job? And I said yes. She said, okay, can I start on Thursday? Just like that. I said, okay. So I went there and when I started, she just gave me 20 hours a week. So I was doing 80 hours a month. And that's a lot. Like it was okay. So
How much were you roughly?
so for the restaurant job, it was around 750 to 800 euros a month. And it was constant. Yeah.
What were some of the perks of working in a restaurant, apart from the money, obviously?
What?
What were some of the perks or the advantages of working in the restaurants, apart from the money, obviously?
Okay, so you get free food, yeah, the drinks, the dessert, like it's just the food, like yeah. And you get to meet a lot of. So my French wasn't so good, but because the restaurant is a very big restaurant and people all over the world come there, so sometimes they need someone who speaks English. So when people who speak English come there, like I'm also very useful there because everyone is searching for me. Yeah. So, and because of that, so I was able to improve my French because you can't say you can't speak English, speak French in a restaurant. You have to communicate with the client, so you have to talk. So I was forced to learn French very quickly there. Yeah. So I'll just say learning the language and the food. Yeah.
And the money too.
Of course, that one is.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, when I came, a friend told me about it. I think a few of my friends had already found out about this babysitting company called Bilingual Kids. So they told me about it, and I also applied online, and it wasn't difficult getting it. It's like for those babysitting companies, especially those that like you have to teach English, they just needed to be able to speak English, not really French. So like that was an advantage to me because I mean I wasn't looking for one that I was speaking French anyway because my French wasn't that good at the time. So yeah, I just went for an interview and then they made me start the following week or so. I went with some friends of mine. We all got the job and we started.
Okay. For the interview, like what are some of the questions they ask you?
Oh, they asked me if I have any experience taking care of children. I said, of course, yes. Even if I don't have experience, I'll say yes. You don't want to mix it. So I mean, I didn't have any experience, honestly, taking care of kids, but I said yes anyway. And yeah, they gave me the job. That's basically the question that they asked me. Um, maybe if a child is being too aggressive, what do you have to do? I said, oh, I'll just shut the child up. It was so funny. It was so funny. I mean, I had to say things that I didn't even know about, but then at the end of the day, I still got it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Because I mean, at that time, my experience with kids wasn't that much. I didn't have any experience with kids that much. So I mean, I just had to be smart about it.
The job, I guess.
He said,
You have to learn on the job, I guess.
yes, exactly.
So apart from the babysitting jobs, were there other jobs you did, or it was just strictly babysitting throughout?
Later on, I had the opportunity to work in a hotel. So I mean, yeah, the hotel job was good. It's just like a restaurant job. It's good. I mean, I think it's the best job I've ever done in France because the pay was good, and then like Hira said, you get to eat free food all the time, drinks, everything. It's like me. I mean, I'm happy when I see food. So yeah.
Did you also get free rooms? Because like if you're getting free food, like if you're working in a hotel, you also get free food.
You know, but the thing is that with the food, they deduct it from your your salary. So it's like you're eating free. You think you're eating free food, but you're deducting from your salary. But just that is not that much. If you're supposed to pay for the food you eat at the restaurant, it's going to cost more outside. You understand? So I mean, it's just something small that they deduct. By the end of the day, you're still. I mean, I actually gained weight. I was looking fresh and fine when working at the hotel.
Like for the food, I think if you go outside, because like for the restaurant I was working, if you come there to buy a food, it was around 15 euros, and we were paying around 2.5 to 3 euros for it. So yeah, yes.
And how did you get the hotel job?
How did I get the job?
The hotel job, yeah.
Yeah, so a friend worked there before, and they called her to come and work. And then, I mean, she had already gotten a different job, so she asked me if I could. I was like, okay, why not? So I went for an interview as well. There was like a direct link. The manager called me. I went for an interview. They asked if I have any experience, of course. And I told them yes, as usual. I had experience. Yes. I told them I had experience. I mean, because working in a hotel is like just cleaning normal stuff. In a kitchen, you help. If you are supposed to cut cabbage, you can't cut cabbage. I have experience in cutting cabbage. So, of course, I mean, those were the basic things they asked me. And then they asked if I could start the following week. I said yes. And I started.
Okay. How were the working hours? Were you working in the evening, during the day, during the afternoon? How did it affect your studies, your classes, and all those stuff?
So I was working. I actually got that job during vacation. So yeah,
Okay.
when school was about reopening, I changed my hours. So I told them you can actually change if you're working like 6 hours a day, you can change to like 4 hours a day. So that was how it was like.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and you, what's your job by recommendation? Should I also got a job by recommendation? Okay, cool. Rebecca, let's know what jobs were you doing? How did you get it? How is the money? What were some of the perks?
Okay, so I wasn't as lucky as Rhoda and Sheila because like I always say, the information you have can really affect you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have any information from anywhere. The information I started to get was after I made a couple of friends, and then they began to give me one or two hints and show me where I wasn't doing it right. Because when I initially came to France, my first point of call was the Mes Service website. Because on the website, you kind of like need to have it as a French student, not really French student, as a student studying in France. You get so both locals and international need to have an account with Mes Service website. I think Barbara will put it in the description box so that you can know what I'm talking about. So on the Mes Service website, if you go through it, you can search for a student job on the website. So that was what I was using from the beginning to search for a job. And initially, I was sending emails, and like I said, my French was very bad when I first came to France. So I didn't like to call. Even though I see a phone number to call, I'll rather send a message because there was Google Translate to help me like write it in French. Then I send a message. So most of the time, they don't reply because maybe sometimes I wrote my message in English and they won't reply like at all. If you write a message in English, just forget it. Then sometimes when I wrote my messages in French, sometimes they replied, sometimes they didn't. And I couldn't call because if I called, there was a communication barrier. They didn't understand English, I didn't understand French, so there was really no need calling. That was what I felt anyway. And on a few occasions when I tried to call, they told me that my French was not good enough for them to employ me, that I at least needed to know the basics for security reasons, that I need to know at least the basics in French, which I didn't know as at that time. So I had to kind of like use the whole 1 year improving my French, getting better. And at the end of the whole 1 year, during my holiday, the summer holiday of my first year, that was the period I began to get jobs, like student jobs.
Before then, before the summer period, did you get any job or did you go for any interviews?
No, I didn't. I didn't even get to the stage of an interview because okay, I actually went for one in a bakery because I was lucky enough, like I kept applying, even though I was not getting responses or I was getting rejections. I kept applying anyway because what do I lose? So, and one of the times somebody got back to me, I was like, it was a boulangerie, it was in a boulangerie, and she got back to me. I was like, can I come for an interview? But it was via messages. You know, I didn't like to call. I only like to send messages. So it was via.
You didn't know taking it.
Pardon?
You didn't know who she was calling for the interview. She didn't know what she was going to say.
So I went for the interview, and of course, I didn't get the job because my French was so terrible. And at the end of the day, I was really hoping to get it, but she just told me I should just, after the 1 hour interview, it was a 1 hour interview. So basically, the interview was you come and help them in selling bread because it's a boulangerie. So the interview was they want to see how you attend to customers. But unfortunately, I did not attend to customers very well because, of course, my French was not good. And so at the end of that day or at the end of that interview, she just told me to take what I want. And that was the end. I should take anything I want from her shop. I could take bread, anything I wanted. I should just take it. And that was the end, actually. So that one passed. I even got another one sometime around the summer. I got one, but unfortunately in a restaurant. But unfortunately, it was the job of a server, somebody who needed to serve. And the restaurant I got that interview in was not a big one like Rhoda's own, so I really needed to speak French. And that one, the interview was for 3 hours, and at the end of the 3 hours, they paid me 30 euros, and they told me not to come back again. So that one was also bad. Like I got
You mean you got paid
for interviews,
for
but
the
I
interview?
couldn't secure the job. Pardon?
You mean you got paid for the interview?
Yeah, I did. I actually got paid for the interview. Yes, for the 3 hours I worked, they paid me cash.
Actually, oh, it
Yeah.
wasn't like a talking, like you had to work.
Yeah, I had to work. Yeah, it was the interview is just they want to see how you work. Then yeah, I think the interview is very practical because at the end of the day, that's actually what you'll be doing. So they want to see if you can do the job they will employ you to do, basically.
I mean, but
So
because with the interviews, all the interviews that I've been to, it's just like sitting down and talking to you. Like in the next 20 minutes, you're done. They ask you questions. Can you do this? Can you do that? And yeah, I'll say yes, I can. I never say no.
yeah. Well, the interview was mine was more practical. Like the
Oh,
interview
okay.
was come and work. We want to see how you work, and from there you know whether you get employed or not. So I did a couple of interviews which were not successful, and eventually I began to get I secured a job in a restaurant. So as a prep, somebody who will cook and wash dishes. So I was able to secure a job in the restaurant. Yeah. And I think they gave me those positions because that was what my French was good enough for. So
You be talking to the bulls.
pardon?
You be talking to the bulls.
Yeah, and then I am cooking, so I don't really have to like talk to anybody per se. I just need to know how to make the dishes. That's all.
I see.
Yeah. And so yeah, those the restaurant paid me about 500 every month. And yeah, I did the job for a while before I eventually stopped.
Mm. I was apart from the restaurant, were you doing any other jobs? So it was just a restaurant for you.
Okay, I was doing a couple of other jobs. I babysat at some point. I taught English at some point. I yeah, I did babysitting and teaching English at some point, and I did so many other things. Yeah, I at some
So
point I started online freelancing.
how did you get that job, the teaching of English?
Oh, for the teaching of English, I placed an ad on Lubonquen.
Yeah,
I
okay.
placed an ad on Lubonquen, and of course, my ad was in French because my target audience were French people, French speaking people. So I wrote an ad in French, and I put my phone number so that anybody who was interested in learning English could call me. And I got a couple of students that were interested until COVID happened. Actually, when COVID happened, COVID just like spoiled everything. So until COVID happened, but before COVID, I got like five five dedicated students who came every week to learn English. And I was
Okay.
charging 10 euros per hour.
Okay. Were you teaching them in groups or individuals?
So it depends. Like there was I had two students who came as a group because they were friends. So
Mm.
they were high school students, and I thought they came in pair most of the time. But I also had students who were just came by themselves, only one person. Yeah. So they were mostly individuals, not in groups.
So for the pair, were they both paying 10 euros per hour or they were paying 20 euros per hour?
For the 10, each person paid 10 euros per hour, each person.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did restaurant, you served, you taught English,
And
anything
I did
else?
babysitting at some point.
And babysitting. And also for the teaching of English, apart from the Gonka, what you could also do is you could actually also place it in universities because there are quite lots of people who want to learn French, or basically you look for Facebook groups in your city and just put those ads in those groups to be able to get people. And yeah, I want to know, like, for generally in a month, what were your expenses, like your accommodation, your food, your eating, like what were your monthly expenses based on the cities you were living in?
Well, for me, let's say the accommodation was 300 euros. Charges was like 50 euros. And then roughly I would spend, at that time, I would spend about 50 euros on food. So
Wow.
basically, that was it, like, yeah, about around 400, yeah. Because I mean, I wasn't really, food is cheap in France.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend much on food, yeah. You just take €1, you can buy bread. You take €2, you can buy, you take €2, you can buy, what do you call it? You can buy tomatoes. So, I mean, I was spending about 50 euros a month. Yeah.
Yeah. What about other entertainment like clothing, hanging out with friends and all those stuff? Or it's all part of the 50 euros?
Hanging out with friends. I never did that. I wasn't hanging out with anyone. I wasn't like I'm trying to be strategic here. Like, I never did, honestly. For the whole I think for the 4 months that I stayed by myself, I never did that. Even if I hung out with friends, but not to buy anything. I didn't buy anything.
So
Yeah.
like you were spending 400 when you were staying by yourself, but you moved somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. I moved. I got the opportunity to stay with someone rent free, so I wasn't paying for rent. So yeah, I
Oh,
mean, yeah, that was it.
food, or you was not paying for food.
I wasn't paying for food. I was just living with a family member, something like that.
Oh, so after that, you were not paying anything. So all the money that came went to your pocket.
Um, all the money that came from Ghana.
No, 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 from like your jobs you were doing.
At a point, I wasn't doing the jobs anymore.
Okay, any
Yeah.
special reason?
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to sacrifice something for something. You understand? Sometimes.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean, it was something like that. But then I started working again, getting to the latter part. Started working again, so I mean, I was able to make some money from those jobs, and then I mean, I went to flex in Ghana.
and I said that all of that you're a fashion designer. Was that also bringing you money, or?
Yes, it was. It was. Even though it wasn't much at the time, I was charging like about 30 euros for a dress. It wasn't much and it wasn't coming like every day, but at least I made some euros, from that. That really helped me. So,
And
but then
how are you organizing yourself? How do people know that, oh, there's this Sheila who actually is a fashion designer? How are
okay,
you
so
advertising?
yeah, it was my friends, and then I also pasted an ad in my school. So I got a
Oh,
few people coming to me. Yeah. So what I did was that, okay, when I was coming from Ghana, honestly, when I was coming, I knew that I had two missions for coming here. I'm coming to study, and then I'm coming to make money. I mean, it's with everyone, not only me. I don't feel bad for saying that.
That's
So
it.
when I was coming, yeah, I made a few dresses from African print, like these crop tops and then short dresses. So when I came, I actually sold those dresses. I advertised in class, yes. I came with a business mindset. So in class, I advertised, I mean, to my friends, my colleagues, my classmates, and I got some of them buying, those dresses. And then even when I ran out of stock, I still got African prints from here, and I made some more dresses, and sold it.
okay. Who were your target people? Were they French or they were African? So everybody was buying from you.
Everyone. I actually got one friend, I think she's from Senegal. She actually
Mm.
helped me get a lot of Africans, coming to me. But with the white people, they're basically those in my class.
Oh, okay. So you were not able to go out of your class to sell to like other people who were not in your class or who were in the city. You couldn't. You were not able to target those markets. You couldn't get those markets.
No, it was after. I mean, if you're talking about that 1 year that I was here, no, the time was quite.
Even now, like from that 1 year to even
Even now,
now.
I've been able to extend my market. I mean, now, like a lot of people know about me, and I did that through friends. True friend.
Okay.
But I saw one person, the person tells another person, and another person comes to another person like that. So yeah. And also on Instagram, normally I use the hashtag. So once you use the hashtag, yeah, I use the hashtag French style, French fashion. So you get people like French people, coming across your work and then contacting you. So that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So for now, like let's say now, how much do you also spend per month? Roughly, how
Right,
much are you spending per month? Yeah. Since
right,
now you're
right now,
getting good money, so I'm sure now you go out with friends and you spend money.
oh yeah, right now they have come on top. Like right now, I've come on top. So well, roughly I would say about 150 euros a month for for food, right?
Yeah.
And maybe if I have to go out. The thing is, even now, I don't even have that much time to go out with friends.
Okay.
So let's just say food. Yeah, right now. So if I used to buy, let's say, chicken at that time, now I can buy chicken and fish together. So, yeah. And then my rent now, I pay almost 400 euros for charges inclusive. Yeah, almost 400 euros. And yeah, calf gives me about 200.
So roughly your expenses per month is 350 euros.
Yeah, 350 euros. Yeah.
Right.
And even with this, still me, I economize a lot. Even with this, if you want to be very economical, you can even cut down. I economize, but then I still want to live, just live good,
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so basically, you make good enough money to enjoy life if you want to. Like the money that's in it's more than your expenses. So you're okay, you're comfortable.
I would say that as compared to the first time, yes, it's better. Yeah.
So who go next? Rhoda or Rebecca?
Okay. So for me, when I came in Grenoble, I was spending around 300 euros a month because my rent was 300 euros, but I was getting CAF 120 euros. So I paid, the 180, then the 120, and I was below 25 years when I came to France, so I was enjoying some benefits. I think like transportation, I was paying, because I had CAF, I was paying 2.5. And even if I didn't have CAF, my transportation was around 15 euros because I was below 25 years old when I came. And food, like she said, but I like the Ghanaian food. So that's what makes my, the money for food goes high. But in a month that I decide to eat just the French food, it's around 50 euros. But when I want to eat the local diet, like those dishes, I think I spend around 150 or 100 euros, 100 to 150 euros for that. And now where I am, so here the rent is quite high. I'm paying around 500 euros. I moved in not long ago, so I've applied for CAF and they are saying it will come this month. I'm hoping it comes. So when it comes, I won't be paying the 500. Transportation and food, I spend around 200 euros on that. So I'm spending roughly 700 euros a month.
You know, you can get free transport in Nantes, right?
Really?
Yeah. So when you get your CAF, you go to the mairie with like the normal documents that you have, and if you want free transport, and they'll do it for you. You don't have to pay for transport.
Okay, noted.
Can I get free transport in Toulouse too?
Just go to the mairie. Just go to the mairie. Most of the time, when you go to the transport office and you ask them like, is there any way that you can get transport for free or reduced? They'll be like, no, there's no way.
Tell you.
There's no way. But just go to your mairie, go and ask them, go and tell them that like, oh, is there any free transport? And that's one thing. There's a lot of free things in France. But as Rebecca said, it's all about the information. It's where you ask, where sometimes you have to be like, there's nothing, but they know that there is. So just go to your mairie, go ask them, like, do they have something for free transport? Who knows?
Yeah, but in Nantes, there's something like that, like, because we've lived there before.
Yeah, and the reason why I used that something like that was like because in Grenoble, like we were paying, like if you had car, you were paying less. Yeah. So when I asked them, oh, is there free transport or reduced transport? Because we were paying the full amount was like 60 something euros, and in Grenoble I was paying like 15 euros. I was paying like less, so I didn't understand why I'll go to another city and be paying that huge amount of money.
Wait, so I go to Paris.
Exactly. They were like, no, there's nothing like that. But I was like, there's something like that. There is something like that. So I was just asking people, and they were like, oh yeah, you go to the mairie, you give them your documents, and you get free transport. So Go look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know, like the expenses and all that.
So for me, when I initially came here, my house rent was very expensive because I was in a private studio, and I was paying about 480 excluding charges. So including charges, it was around 530 per month. But CAF gave me around 280. So removing 280 from 530, I was paying about, I don't know how to do the math. Yeah, that was how much I was paying in a month. So yeah, it wasn't so expensive, but my rent was actually very high. And then I discovered cruise. And when I discovered cruise, since then cruise has just been my go-to apartment because cruise is quite cheap. It's quite cheap and it's a student apartment in France. And so I went to cruise and I paid less. I began to pay around 258 or 54 in a month, and CAF was giving me about 112. So if you do the math, I was paying less than about 100 and something euros. And for my feeding, to be honest, I don't really keep track of my expenses when it comes to feeding. But for transport, it's quite easy to do that because we subscribe every month. So for my transport, I was initially paying about 26 euros. I really don't know why Rhoda is paying. Rhoda, how much do you pay for your transport right now in NONS?
20 something because
Okay.
the company pays half and I pay the rest.
Okay, so if the company wasn't paying half, you'll be paying about 40 something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite high because what I was paying before I got the married support of paying nothing was about 26 euros in a month. So yeah. And for my feeding, to be honest, I don't really keep track, but more or less I spend about 20 euros every week, more or less. And yeah, that's basically my expenses. Oh, that was basically my expenses.
Okay. So Rhoda and Rebecca, you people too were not going out, you were not spending time with friends, enjoying the French life, traveling and all the stuff.
Okay. For traveling, I did last year summer and I went to Germany to visit a friend. And I didn't spend money on accommodation because I went to stay with her. And foods we were eating in the house, we were just going out to explore. So the main expenses had to do with the transportation. And it was around, I think my in and out from France to Germany was around 80 euros. Yeah. And going out with friends, maybe once a while I do that. But you see here, when we go out to eat, at the end we share the like the money. Yeah, the bill. We share the bill and pay. So I always end up paying around 15 euros. And it's not constant with Corona and stuff. I hardly do that. So yeah. I think the last time I did that was around 2019, yeah. So
But I think these are things that when you come for the very first time, you would have to hold on a little because you're trying to cut down costs.
yeah.
So you have to hold on a little with the chilling and going out, and then maybe when you find your feet, then maybe you can now stay, because that's actually what I did. Like I said, when I came, I was very, very economical, but then later on, I was making something that I could, go out and have fun a little bit. So I was even able to travel to Switzerland. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so this has been a very interesting conversation. I've actually learned a lot, and I'm really grateful that you guys agreed to do this with me. So before we end, maybe your last advice, your final words to people, what they should consider, what they should do, what they should not do, and all those. And yeah, one last thing: did any of you get scammed, like during your process, maybe looking for accommodation or anything? Did you have any scam experiences or lose your money through dubious means?
Okay, so for me, I think with the babysitting, I think from Lebonkwa.
Okay.
So this they claim to be a couple. They sent me a long text saying they are relocating and they would like someone to take care of their kid. They even sent a bank check. Like so apparently when they send the bank check and you deposit in your account, it
Oh, bounce.
matures, yeah, it won't bounce. But when you deposit in your account, you feel like you have that money in your account now.
Yeah.
So if you don't take care, you overspend, then you end up owing the bank. And these guys are not going to come. And if they want to retrieve their check, it's this long process, like they want to retrieve their check back or something, then you have to pay them. So you will be
Yeah.
owing them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was lucky because my friend came here. Like any job that I was doing, I had to discuss with her because she speaks very good French and everything. So anything I sent to her, like, what do you think? And she said, nah, ignore this. This is a scam. So
Yeah.
I did it, and they sent me this check. If it was genuine, I was supposed to deposit it, like call again and stuff. I didn't deposit the check. I just left it in my room. It was there. And since then, I never heard from them again. I think if they know that, like, you've seen their tricks, they just stop contacting you. Yeah.
But
Yes.
they just sent you a check. They just sent you a check where you haven't worked.
No, that is the thing.
But it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, they are not
How
smart
much was
people.
it?
I think it was 1,000 euros.
Just like that, free money.
1,000 euros. You see, like, it doesn't even make
Yeah,
sense
it
because
doesn't.
even the babysitting that you are doing, you don't even get that money
I
in, let's say, 3 or 4 months. But this one, just like that.
even if it was Ghana, I would make like this place that getting money is hard like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. Did any of you also experience anything like this, or all the jobs you got were genuine?
For me,
Oh,
I have never had any scam experience in France. Yeah, because what Rhoda is talking about, our school kind of like warned us about it because it was a very rampant scam actually.
mm,
It was
yeah.
very common. So our school kind of like wrote all of us an email, and I had already seen the email before their mail came to me. So I was kind of like already informed. And
Mm.
So
maybe
you
I
got
I mean, it
pardon?
was the same.
like that.
Pardon?
You got an email like that.
Yeah, when you search for jobs very often, of
That's
course you should have come across something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when I was coming from Ghana the first time, I mean, my school also, advised us about things like that. So we were very vigilant, like very, very vigilant. Because I let it happen to one girl who came before us, and at the end, when she was leaving, she was owing about 6,000 euros that she had to pay before. Yes,
wow.
that she had to pay off that money before leaving France. And how, like, it's from what they were saying, it was a sad story. We were very, very vigilant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before you have your final words, like I just remember something. Did finding the jobs working actually affect your academic life because you came to France to study? Did it clash with your schoolwork or anything, or everything just flowed seamlessly?
Well, when I came the first time with the kind of job that I was doing, it wasn't much. It was just 2 hours a day. So nah, it wasn't. It wasn't affecting
Mm,
my studies now.
okay.
Yeah.
And for me, I never worked when I was going for lectures and writing exams. I waited till I started my internship. So during that time, it was just Thursday, even after going to the lab in the evenings, and Saturday. So I didn't have a problem with that.
So for me, the work kind of like affected my studies because, like I said, I got a couple of babysitting jobs, and some of those babysitting jobs I had to work on Wednesdays when I had classes. So I kind of like skipped my class to go for babysitting. But good for me, I had the minimum number of attendance to write my exams, and I was fine. So, but it wasn't very often because as at the time I began to get those babysitting jobs, we didn't often have classes on Wednesday mornings because babysitting jobs was in the mornings of Wednesday, and from the afternoon I was free. So basically, most of our classes were Wednesday afternoon, not Wednesday morning. But there were a couple of times we had classes in the morning of Wednesday, so I had to miss those classes. But it wasn't too many times. For the other babysitting jobs, they were like in the evenings, like to go pick the kids from school and all. And yeah, so but I think I was doing too many things at the same time.
Yeah.
So just take but looking back at it right now, I don't really think I did too badly because combining too many things, I think my results were not so terrible. It was still fair enough considering that I was doing too many things at the same time. But I'll just advise that you should not forget what you actually came to do in France, because sometimes you work and you get as much as 1,000, sometimes 1,500 euros, and then you think, okay, I have so much money, and then you forget what you actually came here to do.
Yeah.
So you kind of like need to create a balance between your studies and the work.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
so let's all
follow the money. If you follow the money, you'd end up getting the money. Yes, you'd get it because there are so many jobs that you can, provided, you want to do it. There are jobs here that you can easily get, to do, that's going to give you, a lot of money. But then those are tedious jobs. Like those are jobs that are going to
Exactly.
take your time.
And you kind of like have to do too many to earn just a little bit.
Yeah. So, you really need to consider that. Okay, so for me, I would say that for what has helped me, or on the side, when like I said, when I was coming, I knew how to sew. So I made some, dresses that actually helped me. I sold those dresses and I got some money from it. I'm not asking anyone coming to go and learn how to do something, but if you already know how to do something, just take it serious. I mean, you can just start from anywhere, whether it's braiding or bead making or anything of that sort that you can do with your hands. You can start with it, when you come in, you can making something out of it. So that's it.
Okay, so for me, I will just advise us with regards to the work. Like when you are searching for work, you are so eager, you have this energy, like you really want to do it. After getting it, then you feel reluctant to even do it. Like you don't want to go to work, you call in sick, and you are feeling lazy. I think the energy that we had when we're searching for work, like if you are able to land the job, continue with that energy. Because like I said, my friend recommended me. Imagine if he went there and he wasn't hardworking, he wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to recommend someone. So
Exactly.
like we should put up the good attitude if we land a job, so that in future we can also recommend our friends if they come and they need help with work. Yeah.
Yeah. That is very true because when you put up a good behavior, they call you whenever they need you. Sometimes they even beg you. Like for me, like this, sometimes my hotel, they call me and they're like, please, we just need you for one day. Can you just make some time for us? I'm like, no, I have stuff. So I have, yeah. So like, I'm the one flexing them now.
I need to flex them.
Yeah, I'm the one flexing them now. Like, I'm giving them all the excuses. Like, no, I can't make it. They're like, oh, Sheila, please, need we need you. I'm like, so yeah, like Ira was saying, you really need to work diligently if you get a job, so that you don't go into chaos if you need a job some other time, or if you have to link another person. So
Yeah.
it's very important that you work diligently.
Thank you. And Rebecca, any last words? I've already said your last words.
My last words will be that take what Sheila and Rhoda have said seriously. Work well, because if you don't, you kind of like spoil the opportunities for others. So you should work well, because people are coming behind you that need your help, and you need to work well, even if not for yourself, for them. Then apart from that, you need to kind of like plan yourself. Don't get distracted, because honestly, you can get distracted if you don't have focus, if you're not focused. So don't get distracted, and make sure your book is still your priority, because at the end of the day, that's what you came here for.
Exactly.
You understand? So that's just my last words.
Okay, thank you very much. And I hope you guys enjoy these conversations. If you would like to have content like this where people actually share their experience, do let me know. And if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. And before I go, I want to ask you guys one last question. Do you guys regret coming to France for your studies?
No.
For me, no.
Now,
For me, no.
at a point, it got difficult. Things got difficult, but I mean, those things are just standing blocks that you need to overcome. With every student life, wherever you go to, whether those in Ukraine, everywhere. So it's just something normal with students. But now, I don't think I regret now.
Okay.
I'm happy. I'm even happy about the fact that I can speak French now. So like I'm bilingual. Hello.
Okay. Thank you very much. And till we meet again or you hear from me again. Bye.
Bye.